It was roses, roses all the way, with myrtle mixed in my path like mad. The house roofs seemed to heave and sway, the church spires flamed, and such flags they had a year ago on this very day. The air broke into a mist with bells, the old walls rocked with the crowds and cries. Had I said, "Good folks, mere noise repels, but give me your son from yonder skies," they had answered, and afterward, what else? Alack, it was I who leaped at the sun to give it my loving friends to keep. Not man could do have I left undone, and you see my harvest, what I reaped this very day, now a year is done. There's nobody on the housetops now, just a palsied view at the windows set, for the best of the sight is all allow at the shambles gate, or better yet, by the very scaffold's foot I troll. I go in the rain, and more than needs, a rope cuts both my wrists behind, and I think by the field my forehead bleeds, for they fling, whoever has a mind, stones at me for my year's misdeeds. Thus I entered, and thus I go. In such chimes people have dropped down dead, paid by the world. What dost thou one owe me? God might question. Now instead, 'tis God shall repay. I'm safer so. Much like how war poetry weasels its way into most academic coursework, so also there's a poem about a hero's fall from grace. Power and glory are transient, and public adulation a thing of fickleness. That is the central theme of The Patriot. The narrator recollects his public reception from a year ago. Flowers everywhere and rooftops filled with so many people, the very houses seemed to move, and the church spires were filled with flags. Between bells and chants and screams, if he had asked the crowd waiting for him to get him the sun, they would have gladly agreed before asking for what more he wanted. The third stanza begins to narrate the story of his downfall. In the end, it was him that reached too far, too high, going so far as to say he's done everything man could do. What he is left with is what he's subjected to today. No one on the rooftop save a few as he trudges along to his end, the scaffold. The image is sobering. There is rainfall, his wrists are tied behind him, and his forehead bleeds from the stones that people fling at his being. The final stanza is philosophical. He entered life and now he leaves, awaiting the embrace of death and his creator. The poem is written as a dramatic monologue, a form of poetry that was popularized by Robert Browning. There are instances of contrasting imagery in the poem which really does wonders for the fall from amazing public adulation to sheer hate. So we go from roses and myrtles to stones, and we also go from rooftops full of people to terraces where there are none except a palsied few. A personification is there of the house roofs which seem to heave and sway, and there are also instances of alliteration, especially in the line, with myrtle mixed in my path like mad, or in the line in triumphs people have dropped down dead. The poem takes the form of a dramatic monologue which compresses into a single vivid scene a narrative sense of the speaker's history and psychological insight into his character. This is as per the Britannica Encyclopedia. The Patriot achieves this manifesto quite brilliantly. From one setting, that of being marched down the streets, we come to be aware of his glorious past and his miserable present. The image of the sun is not without purpose. The sun is commonly perceived as a symbol of eternal glory, most popularly so as a result of the story of Icarus, a hero in Greek mythology who was so excited by his new wings that he chose to fly to the sun and ended up falling to the sea. That story is oft repeated as a lesson in overreaching. The fact is, we are never made aware of what exactly the narrator did to fall so quickly, all the way to a public execution. We are left with a symbolic representation, and there cannot be a better way to achieve that. A hallmark of excellent poetry is its ability to create mental visuals, and this poem accomplishes that, even lacking a concrete story to follow.